Special week for the BBC, which is celebrating broadcasting children's programmes. It's the Diamond Jubilee year, and if you have a copy of this week's Radio Times, you'll find on the cover, that's the cover with this old wireless set and the modern telly, there's this little symbol here, 60 years of children's telly, and if you flick through your Radio Times, every time you see that particular symbol, well then you'll know that there's a Diamond Jubilee programme especially for you.
Good news for Will o' the Wisp fans, because I'll be showing you how to make a car wash. There he is. And I bet you could teach Jack a drill thing or two, don't you?
I should think so, yes. So we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
He's down at the 60 Years Diamond Jubilee exhibition this morning.
I know, isn't it exciting?
It's going on all week, and he's got his special suit on, his DJ that he's hired for the day. John, are you there?
Well, I've changed now, Mike. I've put something a bit more casual on. And I've moved into the 1930s and 1940s, sitting in this sitting room here with a family of the time, and we're sitting round the wireless. Now, turn up the volume and hear the most popular programme on Children's Hour. It was the Toy Town Stories, The Adventures of Larry the Lamb.
I'm the pirate's mate.
Larry.
The plumber's mate. I've decided to learn to be a plumber.
wrong with my radio?
friend Toby is being a plumber too. You see, our little consciences have been worrying us. We thought it was not right for us to be doing nothing. It seems so lazy, but so we decided...
That brings back memories. Larry the Lamb, and in fact the voice of Larry the Lamb, Mr. Master. Well, that was we all used to imitate that. That was the voice of the most famous of all the uncles on radio's Children's Hour, Derek McCulloch, Uncle Mac. And this whole exhibition that we have at the moment, and the two television programmes on BBC One next week, which mark the 60th birthday, have been produced by my old friend John Adcock.
Hello, John.
John. Must have been great fun, was it, getting it all together?
Oh, terrific, yes. I mean, I've never done an exhibition before, so it was a real new adventure for me. But also, the research for the programmes was so interesting, going back in time.
Was it difficult to get the old clips?
It was harder to get the old television clips than the radio clips, interestingly enough, because radio seemed to get recording before television did. And in the early days of children's television, there really is very, very little recorded.
Well, there's a lot of banging going on around here, and the exhibition is still being got ready, isn't it?
Well, I hope it'll be finished.
Now, where exactly are we? Let's remind people.
We're at the BBC Gallery in the Langham, which is opposite Broadcasting House, Portland Place, London, West 1.
Right. And if you go to Oxford Street Tube Station and walk up Regent Street...
You can't miss it, because the moment you see Broadcasting House, look opposite, and you'll see big signs saying where the exhibition is.
And when does it open? We'll just go over the address again. It's the Langham Gallery,
The Langham Gallery.
At Portland Place, London, West 1. Fine. And it's open, it's officially open on Monday, isn't it?
Yes,
Right.
the Duchess of Kent officially opens at 10:30. That's for the BBC Children's Department only. It opens for the public on Tuesday, and it's open every day until Saturday the 26th.
Right, and people can come along. It's free, isn't it?
It's absolutely free, and it's open 10 o'clock till 6 in the evening.
Fine. And people from the programmes will be popping in to sign autographs?
Yes, they will, 2 or 3 times a day.
Yes. And do you think it's going to be ready in time? I mean,
Yes, it'll be ready.
Great, well, I hope it is, John. Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you,
indeed.
John.
Great. Well, while John goes on and bangs and clatters around, I'm going to take a stroll down memory lane, because here are some photographs from the early days of children's television. Here's Play School, for instance. Play School was actually the very first programme to be broadcast on BBC Two when it opened in 1964. And here are some very familiar faces from Blue Peter in the 60s and 70s, Peter, Val and John. And there they are in some of their adventures around the world. Here's a familiar face as well. Can you see? Tony Hart. There's Tony Hart on Vision On from the 60s and 70s. And of course, Tony is just as popular today with Take Heart. And here, Pinky and Perky. Hands up those mums and dads who remember Pinky and Perky, because they were more or less the Muppets of their day, Pinky and Perky. They used to mime to the pop records of the time. A lot of very famous broadcasters actually began their careers on children's programmes. Here's Stanley Baxter, the comedian. Stanley started as a young lad broadcasting on Children's Hour in Scotland. And Johnny Morris, well, he was a radio broadcaster, and he became a storyteller on children's television as the Hot Chestnut Man. And then, of course, later came Animal Magic. And Cliff Mishelmore, he used to present a magazine magazine program for children in the 1950s. And here's John Williams. Now, you might wonder what a world-famous guitarist is doing in this exhibition. Well, John, as a boy of 12, made his first ever television appearance on a talent program called All Your Own. And he was playing the guitar, of course, and All Your Own was introduced by Hugh Weldon, now it's Sir Hugh Weldon. And if you watch our programme on BBC One at 7:10 on Wednesday, you'll see a lovely moment when Hugh Weldon, live on All Your Own, has an embarrassing experience. Here are some more puppets. Mr. Turnip with Humphrey Lestock, Harry Corbett with Sooty and Sweet, Hank there. And here are some characters from programmes for children under 5 who became popular with everybody in the country. Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men, Flobber-Dobber-Dob, Andy Pandy, and of course, perhaps the most famous of all the early puppets on television, Muffin the Mule. Muffin the Mule, who was the brainchild of Annette Mills. And here's a television set of round about the same era as Muffin the Mule and Annette Mills, and hopefully we're now going to see Muffin the Mule in action. Here comes Muffin the Mule.
And now we're going to give you just a little bit of our... Muffin, stop it. Stop. Yes, I know, all right. I'm just going to tell them about it. Don't get so excited. You see, this is our percussion band. Yes, it's a one-man band, isn't it, Muffin? Yes, one mule band. Sorry.
And here is Muffin himself, still going strong after all those years. Nice to have you in the exhibition, Muffin. Well, we'll be coming back later on to look at some of the more modern developments in children's television. Meantime, here's some music, and it's from Boys On. It's Boys On TV from Deluxe A, but not on this TV. Nostalgia for your mic, an old friend from the recent past. It's Posh Paws, of course, from Swap Shop. And if you ever wondered how Posh Paws worked, well, you can find out if you come along to this exhibition of 60 years of children's broadcasting at the Langham Gallery in London. Because Posh Paws was operated by radio control like this. And you'll be able to twiddle his buttons if you come along to the exhibition. Morning, Posh Paws. Leave you silent for a moment and still. Swap Shop, of course, some memories there of the programme. Look at Keith with his long curly hair there. And here are some golden moments from Saturday Superstore. I'll just have a quick drink of tea from a Superstore mug to make me feel at home while you look at this, that we've even got our name in lights. Saturday Superstore on an electronic screenwriter. Right, let's take a look further down along the exhibition now. It's all still going on. People are still busy working all over the place trying to get it ready in time for Monday when it's officially opened by the Duchess of Kent, who will sit there to open the exhibition. How's it all going? All right, still? Yes? Ready on time, you think? No way. No way, I hope so. I hope the Duchess of Kent's not watching. Right, here's the tallest man in the world. He was 8 foot 11 inches, .10 high. And, of course, he's a memory of the Record Breakers programme, that very, very popular show with Roy Castle and Norris McWhirter. And let's move along further down here. See, oh, what's happening here, Anne?
Well, countries all over the world have got children's programmes and they're just marking them all
on the map. Oh, you're sticking them on the map. All over the place, from Abu Dhabi to Zimbabwe. Eh? Programmes made by BBC Children's Television being shown in those countries. Right. What's this doing here? Look at this. Oh, dear, that's me from a Christmas edition of the All-Star Record Breakers, dressed up as a fairy. Now, this, you might think, is a piano, but it's not. It's actually a sound effects machine. It was used on radio in the 1950s, 1960s, and it can store 1,260 different sounds. Let's have a see what happens if I press 18. Sounds like a nice old biplane, that. Ah, here come the bombs! Oh, good job, it's just a sound effect. Right, well, let's move on to something a bit more modern now, because here's the very latest in a handheld video camera, which you can operate if you come to the exhibition. So, here, I'll take a picture of Alistair taking a picture of me, and you can see it on the monitor set there. Can you? How about that for a bit of in-television? Good. Love one of those things. Right. Look, here's something else that's very new these days, the laser disc. Bit of Toya there on the television, beamed out from a laser disc. Over here, as well, we have the BBC computer, the microcomputer, and it asks us to talk to it. So I press any key, it says, to talk to the computer. Right. Hello, I'm the BBC computer. What's your name? Type in the letters. Right. J-O-H-N. Then press the yellow key. Tell me, John, what's your favourite colour? You may choose from red, green, yellow, pink, blue or white. Well, let's have blue, shall we? A good choice, John, says the computer. There's some blue. And what else but Blue Peter, of course, the blue tune. And, of course, Blue Peter is actually celebrating a very special birthday of its own very shortly. Now, we're getting towards the end of the exhibition now, and if you can see on the monitor here, there's a scene from one of the latest adventure things on BBC television, Captain Zepp. And if you were watching Superstore a couple of weeks ago, you'll have seen Matt Irvin demonstrating one of the marvellous modern technologies of television. It's called colour separation overlay, and it means that if you stand in front of something blue like this, the director and the engineers can superimpose any other picture on your picture. So, if you come to this exhibition and walk into this blue area here, you can actually find yourself transported onto the set of Captain Zepp. How about that for a bit of space adventure? So that's just one of the things here at the exhibition. Don't forget, it starts on Tuesday. It's open to the public from then until a week next Saturday, including the whole of the weekend. The stars of children's television will be popping along to sign autographs and to say hello. The admission is absolutely free, and there's everything here from the very early days, right from the 1920s. 1922, the very first children's program was broadcast. That was in Birmingham, and then a few weeks later came London, and then the rest of the country broadcasting programs especially for children, voices coming out of the air. And later on in the 1930s came television for children, and the exhibition reflects all of that and brings us right up to date with things as adventurous, as modern as Captain Zepp. Time now for me to beam you back from this exhibition. Just to remind you, it's at the Langham Gallery, which is dead opposite Broadcasting House in the heart of London. If you can get along, please come along. We'd love to see you. Meantime, I shall beam you back to Keith.
Cheers, John. Will you actually be going to the exhibition?
Yes, I will. Yes. Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to pop along on either Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days.
Oh, great. I think I'm going along next Sunday.
Oh, I see. Isn't it
coming
oh,
along,
it's still
I mean
open
that.
on Sundays? It's open on Sundays as well?
Saturday and Sunday next week,
Right,
yeah?
I'm looking forward to going down there.
Well worth a visit.
Saw my usual favourites and stars of television screens many, many years ago. Well, because the BBC are celebrating 60 years of children's programmes, they've also made a whole host of, well, souvenirs like this T-shirt I've got on here at the moment. There you go, 60 years of children's programmes. There's lots of other things down here. There's stickers, badges, like this, these little badges down here, which I think are marvellous. There's also the balloons as well. There's also a smashing mug. He hasn't got any coffee in. And this poster here, which does tell you all the information about what's going on down there. As you see, all the stars of children and space will be there as well. So, as I say, I shall be popping down there. But what we're going to do is give away 6 lots of these items.
Today, and it was first broadcast in 1951.
That's how I get in on the cake bit.
Very good. It doesn't look much like a cake at the moment, Mike.
No, this is the first layer. This is Neil and Colin from Merton Technical College, and they've been in charge of making the cake. How many of you actually work?
Things, and all we want you to do is identify 3 of the countries that they come from. They're all numbered, so watch very careful. Pen and paper at hand, because here they come.
Hola. La Televisión de España felicita a los programas infantiles de la BBC en su 60 aniversario.
Vom Westdeutscher Rundfunk in Köln, dem BBC Kinderprogramm zum 60. Geburtstag. Alles, alles Gute, herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Ahoj děti. Československá televize přeje dětskému programu BBC k jeho 60. výročí hodně úspěchu a vám hodně radosti z jeho pořadu. Dobrou noc.
Buon pomeriggio, possiamo dire buon pomeriggio? Lo sapete perché siamo qui?
No.
Non è tandem, ma è un'edizione speciale perché dobbiamo fare gli auguri del 60° anniversario della nascita del programmi per ragazzi della BBC. Quindi tanti auguri da me.
Tanti auguri da me, mi raccomando, best wishes BBC.
Oh, che bravo.
Una candelina per voi.
lui è il nostro
Auguri.
maître. Tanti auguri.
Tanti auguri.
Ciao.
במלאת 60 שנה לתוכניות הילדים ב-BBC, אנחנו מאחלים לכם מזל טוב.
מזל טוב.
שלום.
Yeah, they're superb, aren't they? You can actually see some more of those going out during the week. Look forward to that. Well, the question was, can you identify 3 of those countries? If you can, send them to us on a postcard to the usual address. That's Superstore, BBC Television, London W12 8QT. And don't forget to look out for our special Jubilee programme, which goes out at 4:40 on BBC One this coming Friday. I'll be there, and so will Mike, won't you?
Yes, I will. Looking forward to that very much.
Abernethy can be seen, as usual, at 11 o'clock. And before that, we have Play School Play Ideas, when Carol Chell will be explaining the themes behind this week's programmes. That's in a couple of minutes. And now, Play School Play Ideas with Carol Chell.
Play School Play Ideas.
The pianist in today's programme was Chris Walker, with percussion by Alan Graham. On BBC One this lunchtime, there's the start of a new series of seesaw programmes called Little Misses and the Mr. Men. Today's stories are Little Miss Tiny and Mr. Tickle, and that begins at 1:45 today on BBC One. And then later on this afternoon, on One, there's the second showing of Play School at 3:50.
And it was read by a radio engineer. Well, that marked the beginning of a tradition of children's broadcasting which has produced characters like Larry the Lamb and Andy Pandy, and programmes such as Blue Peter and the Multicoloured Swap Shop. This week, the BBC celebrates its Children's Diamond Jubilee with a television festival as well as an exhibition at the Langham Gallery in London.
rather surprised that Tippy didn't want to get in too. And slowly, up came the two funny little flower pot men, face to face.
There's something at this exhibition for everyone, including the Duchess of Kent. Her tour began with a look back at the early days, an old crystal wireless in a 1920s sitting room. And when she tuned in, she heard something much to her liking, a commentary on Wimbledon 1923.
Very, very similar to what exactly goes on now. Perhaps it sounds a bit slower, I thought.
Then came a glance at Muffin the Mule in action, and well protected behind a glass frame, the original Sooty. The Duchess' personal favourite, though, is Paddington Bear. She says she carries one with her everywhere. The exhibition opens to the public tomorrow. It will remain open till Saturday week, and there's no charge to go in. Among the more modern programmes featured is Roy Castle's Record Breakers. It's been running now for 11 years, and a 12th series is on the way. I asked Roy Castle this morning which were his favourite programmes when he was a child.
Well, I remember Just William. That was most important, to hear Just William each week. And then Romany, on nature tours. We had our nature study by a chap called Romany. And then, of course, I was allowed to hear Itmar and things like that, and Toy Town with Larry the Lamb and Mr. Grouser.
The extraordinary thing about children's programmes is you do remember them for the rest of your life, don't you?
Oh, yes, yes. I don't remember word for word, but that's really stuck with me, is the Just William and the nature tours.
Now, as a presenter of Record Breakers, which has been a very successful children's show and has been running for 10 or 11 years now, what's been the secret of its success? Because kids are fickle.
Well, I think they're very honest, you see. They haven't been taught what they ought to like. And so they're not going into anything preconditioned. It's a genuine like or dislike. So there are not many shades of grey. It's either I like that or... And they don't actually tell you they don't like you. They just start talking amongst themselves, you see. So you lose their attention.
Is it much harder to entertain children than to entertain adults?
Not if you've done your homework and if you've got the right kind of material. Really, the Guinness Book of Records is the perfect platform because it's either the worst or the best. Again, there's very few shades of grey. In records, you're either the best or the worst or the fattest or the thinnest, and that's it. And once you know that, that's the ultimate.
I suppose one of the important things is to catch children young watching television, to keep them as they get older.
Well, that was good for me with Record Breakers because now the 18-year-olds were 7 when the Record Breakers started, you see, so they were that's my lot, my 7 till 12s, and of course I thought that once they grew out of watching Record Breakers, I couldn't see it anymore because school was a bit later, they would possibly look at me as yesterday's old Uncle Roy. That's Uncle Roy, you know. You used to watch him there. Well, of course, he's getting on a bit now. But I came across a few guys the other day. They were what you would call punk. They had got every appearance of being punk, and I thought, oh, they're going to give me a hard time, you know. And they didn't. They said, hello, Roy. All right, still breaking the records? Whoa! You know, it was nice, really.
The post office has changed its mind over the...
This is BBC One North. For a minute, let's listen to some music that perhaps your mothers and fathers remember better than you. That's the music for Toy Town.
Cemetery.
Oh, yeah, Whirligig. Yes, I remember Whirligig.
It was on the 22nd of November 1922 that the British Broadcasting Company, as it was first called, began transmitting from its 2LO studios here in the heart of London.
BBC One continues the celebrations on Friday afternoon with Jubilee, a special birthday party with many of the stars of children's programmes, past and present, and including some special moments from the past 60 years. And the celebrations will end with something of a bang, as 60 fireworks will be set off, one for each of those diamond years. Jubilee is at 4:40 on Friday afternoon. With Play School, there's another cartoon adventure with Yogi Bear at 4:20,
And at 4:25, Jan Francis tells a story from Five Children and It by E. Nesbitt in Jack and Nori. The New Adventures of Mighty Mouse are at 4:40, followed at 5 by John Craven's News Round. In Blue Peter at 5:05, Simon, Sarah and Peter reveal the secret of the mystery object that's been puzzling us all for the last 3 weeks. So if you've entered the competition to guess what it is, you can find out whether you've won a prize. And now, it's not only BBC children's programmes that are 60 years old this week, it's also the 60th anniversary of The Flying Scotsman. And you can see some early film of this grand old giant of steam in Blue Peter, starting at 5:05. Then finally, at 5:35, Paddington Bear at the Tower. But talking of Blue Peter and the 60th anniversary of BBC children's programmes, here's a rare chance to hear the original recording of the Blue Peter theme. It's time for Play School. The programme is presented today by Sheila Gilby and Patrick Abernethy. For 5 minutes, Jack and Nori with Jan Francis telling a story from Five Children and It. First on BBC One, cartoon fun with Yogi Bear. Adventure in 15 minutes with Mighty Mouse. But now on BBC One, Jubilee, Jack and Nori with Jan Francis. Today's story from Five Children and It is called Beautiful is the Day, and it was first broadcast in 1951. Jack and Nori at 4:25, William Rushton tells a story from Winnie the Pooh. In Blue Peter at 5:05 today, the secret of the musical mystery object is revealed, and you can find out whether you won a prize. Now on BBC One, the new adventures of Mighty Mouse.
2 weeks. It'll now close on March the 12th. One of the first stars of radio's children's hour back in the 1920s, when radio was just beginning, was Kathleen Gaskadden. Auntie Kathleen.
We were voices coming through the air, And the result was people were standing at the door outside to see what we looked like, belonging to the voices they'd been listening to.
Just to prove that you were real.
Prove that we were real, yes, yes. Some children thought we were fairies, you see.
Tomorrow, of course, is Jubilee Day, and you'll be cutting the 60th birthday cake.
And that's my birthday too.
Is it really?
Yes. Well, don't ask
How
me.
old are you?
No, I'm not going to tell you. I don't tell anybody. I sometimes forget myself.
A little bit older than
Conveniently.
children's broadcasting.
Yes.
But not much.
Yes.
Well, happy birthday, Auntie Kathleen.
Thank you very much, John.
And Auntie Kathleen will be joining lots of other people from children's broadcasting in tomorrow's special Jubilee programme. But from me, for now, bye-bye.
Now before Blue Peter, another of the 60th birthday greetings from television organisations around the world.
Vom Westdeutscher Rundfunk in Köln, dem BBC Kinderprogramm zum 60. Geburtstag. Alles, alles Gute, herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Hello! My pals and I here, we're getting ready in Studio 8, the television centre, to celebrate 60 years of children's programme in a Jubilee party.
Yes, we're going to be joined by dozens of other children's presenters to see again some of those special moments and shows from the past 60 years. And they include, well, some of those bits that didn't go quite right.
Yeah. Join us at 20 to 5 tomorrow when we can promise you that the programme will end with a big bang.
It certainly will, because we've got 60 Jubilee rockets all set up in the Blue Peter Garden, ready to be launched to light up the sky. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.
This is BBC One. On BBC One, another story about Paddington.
Just about made it. Hello and a very warm welcome to the BBC Children's Programme's 60th birthday party. Floella, Sarah, Tony and myself are going to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee by introducing some special moments from BBC Children's Programmes over the last 60 years. Well, some of which only your nannies and granddads and John Craven will remember.
And as you can see, we've got loads of children's television presenters here in the studio with us to help us celebrate. And let me tell you something, from now, we're going to end this programme with a real bang bang!
That's right. Now, just in case you're wondering...
Let off a rocket, so that's 60 rockets in all. So come on, you lot, get moving out of the studio. Outside. So whilst we all make our way outside to the Blue Peter Garden, well, we thought you might like to hear, again, some of the theme tunes of BBC children's programmes that have made it into the top 20. Only last year, due to Terry Wogan playing his Lost, the signature tune of the Seesaw programme actually leapt into the charts. Good it was too. Come on.
Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. Early in the morning, just as day is dawning, he picks up all the post bags in his van.
On the white horses, let me ride.
In 1968, a series that included the famous white horses, the Lipizzaner, had a theme tune that reached number 10 in the charts.
To the sun, to a world my heart can understand. It's beautiful, warm, wonderland far away.
1980 produced a hit for Mike Oldfield and Blue Peter. One of the most successful hit records came from a children's serial way back in 1961, Ackerbilg's Stranger on the Shore. On Swap Shop, Noel, Maggie and I made a record in 1981. We were all thrilled to bits. It reached number 15 in the charts.
I just wanna be a whale.
to please. Or a possible piece. I wouldn't mind if it was no hell. Even Eric would serve me well. P1, P1, Taiwan. P1, P1, Taiwan. P1, P1, winner the war.
I want to be a winner, and it was, and this is too, because the BBC's Special Effects Department have set up the rocket. So should we have a countdown? Yeah! Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are the Diddy Men who come.